Hey guys, this is ID again with Hush Hush Magazine. Today we're going to talk about the city of San Francisco. The map tours have been super popular on my channel. And so today I figured it might be useful for folks, especially as the pandemic is ending and people are going back to the office. There are a ton of people that might be moving to new jobs in tech or jobs based in the Bay Area that just want to know more about the Bay. So that's what this video is going to be about. Let's get right into it. So hopefully at this point you guys should be able to see my screen. I'm showing my screen. I typed in San Francisco, California, and you guys can see the red outline here on Google Maps. That's basically showing us what the San Francisco area is. As you can see, it's a relatively small area, especially compared to other cities like New York City or Los Angeles. It's not a huge space. I think the quote or whatever that people say is that it's 7 by 7, which I think is like 7 square miles by 7 square miles, basically, which is pretty small. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can get an idea of the surrounding areas. So as you can see, I'm zooming out a ton just to show you all of California. California is a huge state. And then within California, in the northern area is where you have the city of San Francisco. And as you can see, there are a bunch of other cities that are nearby. And we call all these cities nearby the Bay Area. But today, we're going to focus specifically on San Francisco for the purposes of not having a 1 hour long video. So let me start with, I guess it might actually make sense to start with the airport. It's kind of weird, but the airport for San Francisco is SFO, and you can see that it's up here in the Millbrae San Bruno part of the Bay Area. And you can see there's a larger city of South San Francisco. This entire area here where the airport is not part of San Francisco. It's considered separate. And they call this entire section here the peninsula. And so that's the first thing to know. So when you get out of San Francisco Airport, they're going to drive you from outside San Francisco to actually inside San Francisco, which, as you can see, begins with this red line here. All right, so that covers that. I'll start at the edge of what is technically considered San Francisco. You'll see here Treasure Island and Yerba Buena Island. As far as I know, there still aren't really apartment buildings or offices in Treasure Island or Yerba Buena Island, but what you will go there for are, they have some cool flea markets, they have a couple of restaurants, they have distilleries, they have beer brewing places. It's basically just kind of like an island that I think they used to use as a naval base, and then they stopped using it for the military or maybe for the Coast Guard, and now it's just kind of like an open space, an artificial island that, random things just happen on. But it is considered part of San Francisco. So I wanted to point that out. You have to go across the Bay Bridge in order to get onto the island, and the Bay Bridge connects San Francisco to Oakland, which is a different part of the Bay Area. There's also Alcatraz Island. Again, nothing, for the regular person there. Tourists will go to check out the history of Alcatraz prison. And it looks like there's apparently a trail there. Maybe you can hike. But besides that, nothing else there. So we've covered those kind of edge cases, weird areas. Coming actually into the territory of San Francisco, I'll start with this area where we have the Ferry Building. It's one of the most iconic buildings in San Francisco. And then it's in the neighborhood of what they call Embarcadero. This entire area that's by the water is called Embarcadero, and you can see there's a train stop here called Embarcadero. This is kind of like one of the main, if not the main areas, I would say, in San Francisco. You have a bunch of restaurants, a bunch of offices, especially tech offices. You have bars. You have inside the ferry building like a farmer's market. You have the ferry stations where you can take the ferry to some of the other area, some of the different parts of the Bay Area. So it's a very central and commercial part of town to live in. And a lot of people live there and work there. And it's super popular and probably one of the most expensive areas to live in San Francisco. But again, super convenient if your office is nearby. So that's Embarcadero. And then next to Embarcadero, if people want to still stay kind of close to work, because the main areas that you'll have offices in San Francisco will be this downtown area. And the downtown area is a combination of Embarcadero, Chinatown, Soma. What does Soma stand for? South of Market. Market Street is one of the main streets here downtown. And they started building offices when I left in this area of South Beach, South Park, and maybe even like Mission Bay. So basically this entire section here between, what is this main street? Van Ness probably, I'm guessing. It's been a while, so forgive me if I haven't memorized. But yeah, Van Ness and basically Mission Bay, this entire area, super commercial, and where I would say the bulk of offices, especially tech offices, especially major tech offices are. And so if you want to be relatively close to work or right across the street from work, walking distance, this is the main area that people will live in. Where should I talk about next? Soma is where you'll find a lot of apartment buildings, especially newer apartment buildings. It's where I first lived in when I first went to San Francisco, because it was just super convenient to walk to the office near Embarcadero and to get, groceries and go out to the Mission, which is nearby, to go hang out, get burritos, stuff like that. So that's Soma. And then you have Nob Hill. Nob Hill is where you start to see more hills. As you guys know, San Francisco is very hilly and can be difficult to navigate. I'm not seeing any pictures here, but just imagine if this entire downtown area is more flat. Once you start going up in this direction towards Nob Hill and towards Russian Hill, North Beach, Telegraph Hill, all these areas, you have very, very steep inclines that you're dealing with. They're really beautiful areas. They have a lot of residential homes. You can kind of see in the picture here that all the homes are kind of like this style of I don't know what to call it, almost kind of like a townhouse. It's kind of a theme in San Francisco, this townhouse style of buildings or homes. You don't have so much apartment buildings, you have more of these homes that have been sliced up into 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. And I don't know, I'm trying to think what else to say about these areas. They're nice areas to live in. Typically not super diverse, but honestly I would say all of San Francisco is not the most diverse, especially if you're looking for Black people or Latino people. I'll do a separate video on where to find more Black people, Latino people, but you'll definitely find a lot of white people and Asian people, because Chinatown is there as well. And in North Beach, there's actually a significant Italian community. They have a lot of, it's kind of like the Little Italy of San Francisco. They have a lot of Italian restaurants and stuff like that. So you will find that up there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else notable I want to say about this area. There's Fisherman's Wharf, which is kind of a continuation of Embarcadero, except that you have more, I don't know, fishing museums and galleries. They have like some piers where the seals will go and hang out. Is it seals or sea lions? I think it's seals. Could be sea lions though, where they just kind of hang out there and sunbathe and people will watch. But this entire strip, like I said, this entire length around the bay is all like super busy, commercial, restaurants, exhibits, etc. Lombard Street is like a famous street, and it's up here in this area. It's just like this street that's kind of like crooked, and cars actually go down it. But you know, it's nothing too special. It's just kind of a crazy street. Um, yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Like, you can live up here again. You want to be close to the main downtown area. You want to be close to work. You want to be around a lot of restaurants. You want to have a lot to be able to do during the week and on the weekends. This whole area is, you know, a great place to stay. And like I said, not the most diverse, but San Francisco as a whole is not super diverse. So I wouldn't really put that too much into consideration. So those are the neighborhoods kind of like on one side of Market Street. On the other side, you have, like I said before, South Beach, South Park, Mission Bay areas. And these areas, when you compare it to the other side, it's a lot more new, I would say. Like a lot of the apartment buildings that have sprung up, at least when I was living there, you know, a few years back, especially around the Oracle Park area, you have like, you see here like Lyft HQ and a couple of other like newer tech companies. And that's also been, that's also come with like newer apartment buildings as well. Let me see if I can find an example to show you guys, but I would say like the main difference of living on this side versus the other side is maybe like, I don't know, maybe if you want like an area that's more like up and coming, still in development, maybe if you want to be near Oracle Park, go to the Giants games. Maybe if you want to be closer to the Mission, I feel like this side is really close to the Mission. I got the sense that it was a little bit more diverse. Some of my friends of color did kind of choose this side of town versus the other side of town. I don't know if it was necessarily cheaper, but I will say that the buildings are newer. Because remember, I was saying on the other side of town, it's more like these older homes. They're single family homes that have been broken up or townhomes broken up. This side is going to be more traditional, like apartment buildings and like more modern and like new and like everything white and like great amenities. The Bay Club is around here. That's why you see this photo of the tennis courts. But you can see like it's just newer developments. So I would say that's the main difference. If you want to live in more modern apartments, I would choose Soma or Mission Bay or Avalon, just like anything around here. Okay, so moving out of like the main downtown area, you then have here Potrero Hill, which I'll be honest, I don't know that much about Potrero Hill besides the fact that it sounds kind of bougie. But it looks like it also has a lot of Victorian homes. It's super quiet, not super diverse. I'm trying to think if there's anything notable for me to say about Potrero Hill. I don't have that much to say about it, so let me not even force it. So moving on, we have Bayview, and I'll be honest with you guys, in my entire time in the Bay Area, and I was there for a few years, I never ever went to Bayview. I've heard that there are more people of color, Latinos, but I never went there, never had anything happening there, so I don't know much about it. But from the picture, it looks like it's also super residential as well. All right, let me zoom back out. Let me next talk about the Mission, which I don't know why it's not highlighting it here, but this area next to Potrero Hill is the Mission. Let me type it in here. The Mission District. There we go. Is this entire area. Mission District is known for being a little bit sketchy because when I was there, there are a lot of homeless people, especially on some of the main roads. But it's also known for being really popping. Like, it's where you have Mission Dolores Park, which is a super popular park in San Francisco where everyone goes to hang out when the weather is nice, get some drinks, hang out with friends, play frisbee, listen to some music. As you can see, there are gorgeous views of the city. So that's really awesome. There are a bunch of amazing restaurants, like Burma Love is really good. It's popping out here. La Taqueria is good. Just like a lot of really good Latin food, Asian food, a lot of great bars, a couple of clubs. So it's just, even though it's a little bit sketchy, it's definitely like one of the places to be. It's one of the main neighborhoods for nightlife and things to do. Or just like if you really love tacos or Mexican food in general, like Tex-Mex or whatever, this is the spot. This is the main spot to be. And so it was really popular with a lot of people, and a lot of people lived here. They kind of have a mix of newer apartments and older buildings. I think it's mostly older buildings, but you might be able to find some newer stuff maybe in these last few years. So that's the Mission. And then next to the Mission, we have the Castro, which I think of as the gay Mission, kind of, basically. And I would say like the area around it is similar, like Dolores Heights, Eureka Valley, Corona Heights. This whole area, like the Castro is mainly known for being like the main like hub of the gay community. So to me, it's just an extension of the Mission in the sense that you have more bars, more clubs and restaurants, but just like with more like LGBTQ friendly options, and a lot of gay pride in the neighborhood. And once you leave like the main downtown area of the Castro and you go to Corona Heights, Eureka Valley, Dolores Heights, it's gonna be, again, you know, Victorian buildings, super residential, quiet, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So that is that. Let me zoom back out. And then let's see, going more outwards, you then have from that point on, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much just like suburbia. You don't have that many more like popping active areas, at least on this side of San Francisco. Twin Peaks is a super popular point to go to because you have a view of like the entire city of San Francisco and its breathtaking views. But around that area and outside of that, you see like Diamond Heights, Westwood Park, Excelsior, West Portal, Parkside. All these areas are just super residential, super family, you know, oriented, pretty quiet. Glen Park, Noe Valley, like it's all from what I remember in my mind, it's all the same thing. So it's good either if you just want some peace and quiet or you found a good deal. They have a lot of views. That's one nice thing about these areas. A lot of them are on hills or mountains. So they do have, in some cases, really spectacular views of the city. But they also tend to be more fog prone, as far as I know. San Francisco, like I would say, like once you pass Van Ness for sure, but I would say like kind of this Twin Peaks like longitude, you're more prone to being covered by fog most of the day, and not being able to get a ton of sun, especially as you get closer and closer to the ocean, which takes us to inner Sunset and outer Sunset. Main reasons you want to live in the Sunset is if you just want to be by the ocean, and you want to be by the beach. Trying to see if they have any photos of the actual beach here on Google. What in the world? But I don't think I'm seeing any, unfortunately. But as you can see, it's a lot of homes as well. Definitely you will not be finding modern apartment buildings in this part of town, but you will find a lot of great schools, local restaurants owned by, Arab families, Asian families, like a mix of different types of people. You'll have Ocean Beach, which, especially when it's hot in San Francisco, which is kind of like August, September, October, a lot of people will be there hanging out, taking in the breathtaking views. Disclaimer to all the beach lovers out there, especially if you're coming from SoCal or Florida or other, lovely, sunny, wonderful places. The beach in San Francisco is not going to be the same. As you can see in this photo, people are in their jackets and jeans because it's cold. It is cold, freezing. Like, it will suck the soul out of your body in an instant. And sometimes you'll even see a bunch of signs saying, like, go in the water at your own risk, because the riptides, the winds are ferocious. And if you're not a strong swimmer, or if you don't know what you're doing, you might run into problems. So that's the disclaimer. Not your usual beach, not as warm. You might not have people, in bikinis, sunbathing and tanning. It does tend to be more like a campfire and toasting marshmallows, playing guitar, smoking, hanging out, fully dressed type of beach. Maybe you might spot some people playing volleyball, or you'll spot like surfers in wetsuits and stuff like that. That's the kind of beach that it is. So it is beautiful, gorgeous, but cold, fog, all that good stuff. So that's the disclaimer to all the beach lovers. So that's inner and outer Sunset. And then here in the middle, you guys will see we have Golden Gate Park, which is kind of like the Central Park of San Francisco for those of us from New York. It is massive. It is beautiful. It is very well taken care of. They have polo fields. They have museums. They have playgrounds. They have golf courses. They have lakes. They have fountains. They have a botanical garden. Like anything you would want to see in a park, soccer fields, anything you would want to see in a park. If you can't find it in the rest of San Francisco, you will find it in Golden Gate Park. So I guess that's the other benefit of living in this part of town. If you want to have access to a huge, green area where you can go and take walks and run and exercise and stuff like that, definitely you will find it here. On the other side of Golden Gate Park, you have, they call it now Vista del Mar on Google. They never used to call it that when I was there. It was just Richmond, Central Richmond, Outer Richmond, Richmond District. This whole area was just like Richmond District. And it's really cool to live there if you want to check out the hiking that's on this side of the Ocean Beach, or the Sutro baths. I never did check out the Sutro baths, but they're basically like saltwater swimming pools back in the day, and now it's kind of like, I guess, like more historic. So if you want to check that out, Land's End is just like a beautiful viewpoint. You have a beach over here, which again, I warned y'all, it's not beach, bikini beach. It's, more hangout, chill beach, but you have the beach over there. You have a lot of beautiful mansions and rich people's homes in this Sea Cliff area. So that's cool. But yeah, besides that, it's just, again, very residential, very family friendly, quiet, a lot of fog. And then over here you have the Presidio. What is the Presidio? I still today don't really know how to describe the Presidio. It says here, 1,500 acre park on former military post is a major outdoor recreation hub. It's basically just a park. It has the Walt Disney Museum, Family Museum in it. And it has just like a bunch of random, buildings, a lot of green space, Presidio Golf Course. There's Chrissy Field, which I think is it's just a sandy beach field area. And then last but not least, of course, you have the Golden Gate Bridge. The entrance is located like basically inside of the Presidio. So that's super nice if you want to like go and like bike the bridge on the weekends for exercise, or you want to have easy access to Marin, which is it a peninsula? Yeah, a peninsula on the other side of the bay. And yeah, and I think that's it. And then last but not least, let me cover this little section in between the other side of Venice, but not quite yet Richmond. You have the Marina district, which is super, super popular with young techies, especially the more pretentious ones, bougier ones, because, sorry, throat problems. So as I was saying, there are a lot of techies who live in the Marina and love it. It's supposed to be kind of like a bougie part of town to be in. Same thing with Cow Hollow. Both of them are next to the Palace of Fine Arts, which is this very beautiful park that has swans in it and some fish and these beautiful columns. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that neighborhood is about. You also have a bunch of cool coffee shops and shopping, a little shopping area and stuff like that. And then next to Cow Hollow and Marina, you have what they call Pacific Heights, or Pac Heights for short. And you have a lot of kind of like not quite yet rich, but aspiring rich people and families that live in Pac Heights and Lower Pac Heights. Google is showing Marufuku ramen, which is excellent. So good. Definitely try it. And you have Hayes Valley. Honestly, this whole area, this whole area of Lower Hayes Valley, Pac Heights, Western Addition, they're all just kind of like really cutesy Victorian buildings and really popular areas for new families or kind of like couples that have been together for a while to live in together. And then some other popular areas, especially for young single people, are Haight-Ashbury, the Panhandle, and Vista. All these areas are near the Panhandle Park, which is nice. And University of San Francisco is in that area, so you have a lot of students. So that's why it's kind of nice for young people in their 20s and stuff. And I think that's it. I think the only other thing that I would say about San Francisco is that be aware of the weather patterns in San Francisco. It is not super warm in San Francisco. It doesn't snow, but it definitely is not warm. It will typically be between, I would say, 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 60 degrees in Fahrenheit. On a nice day, you'll get 70. On a really hot day, you'll get 80. But most of the time, it will be in the 50s and 60s. And when you add that with the fog and all the wind and the breeze from the ocean, it does start to feel very cold, especially at night. So be aware of that. It is not like SoCal. It's not like San Diego or LA. It gets cold. So you're going to want jackets, sweaters, boots, etc. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to know about San Francisco. I'll make follow-up videos on Oakland and other parts of the Bay. But I hope this is helpful. So see you next time.